Hello, I'm Leonard Nimoy. 1960 was a year of fear, terror, scandal, and sadness. The fear came when history's first hijacker held a plane load of passengers hostage. The terror was in the theaters when the scariest movie of all time was released, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Next in 1960 came scandal when Dick Clark testified before Congress about radio DJs getting payola to play records. And lastly, the sadness when Hollywood's great Clark Gable died. Elsewhere on the sports beat, Wisconsin lost to Washington in the Rose Bowl. Now, sit back and enjoy this 1960 episode of Our 20th Century.
In the greatest story of a momentous year, John F. Kennedy defeated GOP standard-bearer Richard Nixon in one of the closest presidential elections on record. The youngest man ever elected president takes the burden from the oldest ever to hold the office as America enters the critical and challenging 60s. At the White House, the stage of history is set for the first meeting between President Eisenhower and Senator Kennedy since the election. The oldest of the nation's presidents and the youngest president-elect meet in an atmosphere of cordial informality to discuss the transition from the present to the incoming administration. Never before has the transfer from one administration to another been as carefully or as cordially managed. On this occasion, the president and the president-elect spent nearly 3 hours in a conference with some of Mr. Eisenhower's chief advisors present, covering not only procedural matters, but all the responsibilities of world leadership the nation now bears and the problems America will face in coming months. To the world, both men present a clear picture of national unity in the search for peace, as well as in the orderly transfer of the reins of power. Afterward, Senator Kennedy answers a few questions, although the details of the talk remain private. Fort Dix, New Jersey, Sergeant Elvis Presley is mustered out after 2 years of Army service. The rock and roll idol of millions is back on the scene. Among his greeters, Nancy Sinatra, daughter of another well-known vocalist. Elvis is glad as can be to be back and eager to start singing. He's also nearly interested in becoming a serious actor. The Army's loss may be the drama's gain. Who knows? Arriving in Los Angeles to begin a 4-day honeymoon after a midnight wedding in Elizabeth, New Jersey, are actress Sandra Dee and singer Bobby Darin. Each of them is an idol of teenagers across the nation. They first announced their engagement after completing production in Rome as co-stars with Rock Hudson and Gina Lollobrigida of UI's new film, Come September. Hollywood turns out in force to hail UI's new film spectacle, Spartacus, on the premiere of the $12 million hit in the film colony. Among the many notables present, Mary Livingston and Jack Benny, Linda Christian and Yale Wexler, Tuesday Weld and John Saxon, Cary Grant, Dorothy Malone and Jacques Bergerac, and three of the stars of Spartacus, John Gavin, Gene Simmons, and Kirk Douglas, who both plays the title role and produced the spectacular drama of the Gladiators' Revolt. The spring fashion collection of the House of Dior, brightening the view, while outside winter's farewell gusts are felt. Designer Yves Saint Laurent this year agrees with his fellow couturiers of Paris that the big sleeve is passé. He is for gathered skirts and for very elegant lounging slacks, or toreadors, call them what you will. The waists are higher, the skirts are fuller, and the colors gayer than in many a year. All in all, a pretty picture for Paris. Secret reconnaissance of Russia by high-flying American U-2 jets ended when one was downed deep in Soviet territory. Its pilot, Francis Powers, was made the subject of a showcase trial. Powers' family was in the courtroom as Russia began massive exploitation of this propaganda windfall. Powers' conviction was inevitable, and the U-2 affair became Khrushchev's pretext to torpedo the Paris Summit Conference. But Mr. K's ultimatums to the Big Three overplayed his propaganda advantage. At an extraordinary session of the United Nations, Khrushchev continued his boisterous, boorish tactics. Britain's Prime Minister Macmillan was but one of his targets. Chief quarry was Dag Hammarskjöld, who won free men's admiration with his defiance of Russian attacks on his handling of the Congo crisis.
At Madison Square Garden, the 33rd Intercity Golden Gloves. Cassius Clay of Chicago challenges Gary Joyce, the Eastern heavyweight champ, and Joyce is in trouble from the first round on. It's a TKO decision for Cassius Clay, and more points for the Windy City team, which wins 12 bouts out of the card of 16, sponsored by the News Welfare Association for Tournament Honors.
At Boston Garden, the final game in the hard-fought NBA Championship Series with 14,000 jamming the arena as the Boston Celtics, white, meet the St. Louis Hawks in dark in the final and deciding game. Bob Cousy with the ball here plays one of the greatest games in a brilliant career. Hawks staying with the Celtics right through the first quarter. Then the Celtics move ahead. Watch Cousy, drive under, miss the hoop, shot after shot, misses. Then Cousy gets the ball and connects. Earlier in the series, he was in a slump. But tonight is Bob Cousy night as a scorer and as a playmaker. The Hawks are battling valiantly to catch up, but the Celtics are in unbeatable form. Right down to the final tick of the clock, the Celtics dominate the play. The final score, a decisive 122 to 103. And the man of the hour is Bob Cousy. Who else?
On the diamond, the Pittsburgh Pirates came up against the Yankees in the World Series. Yogi Berra came to bat in the final game and blasted a 3-run homer to put New York in the lead 6-4 in the 6th inning. A thrilling series was fast moving to an incredible climax. Pittsburgh was battling fiercely for its first World Championship in 35 years, and the Pirate fans never wavered. Then a double play ball hopped freakishly to hit Yankee Tony Kubek in the throat, and instead of being out, 2 men were on base. After that reprieve, the lead seesawed until the bottom of the 10th, when Bill Mazeroski slammed the 4-bagger to end the game and the series with victory for the Pirates. Last time the Pirates played in the series, the Yanks had won 4 straight. That was 1927. Now in 1960, sweet revenge. A Cinderella story of baseball, and the hometown fans went berserk with joy. Department of Inventions, somebody ought to invent. Something to stop people like our pixelated pal here from attempting to navigate the highways while 3 sheets to the wind. Question: can mechanization keep intoxicated idiots from killing themselves and innocent people to boot? Well, here's one German dream invention. An alcohol-o-mat that would be built into any car. One whiff of Hans' high-octane breath, and it goes into action. Ach, du lieber, maybe I should walk already instead. It's better for the health, no? Jawohl.